in just a few hours from now, the Supreme Court will be hearing the bail pleas of Delhi riots accused Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam and others. But before that, the Delhi police today filed an affidavit vehemently opposing any relief to them and calling the 2020 riots in the national capital a planned operation for regime change. Squarely blaming Umar Khalid and his co-accused for orchestrating the riots, the police said that the conspiracy hatched, nurtured and executed by them was aimed at striking at the very heart of the sovereignty and integrity of the country. The cops also alleged that the accused wanted to destroy communal harmony and instigate the crowd not only to disrupt public order, but also to the extent of armed rebellion. According to this 389-page voluminous affidavit, international theories developed in recent years have termed these kind of organized or sponsored protests, all of which have just been described as regime change operation. And that really was the key word: regime change operations in the guise of resistance. Remember, the lack of bail to the Delhi riots accused have been the source of much politics, with it being argued that the law has been weaponized to keep them behind bars for half a decade. But the Delhi police also described that this delay in trial was a well-planned conspiracy by the accused themselves. In fact, they argued that in offences that strike at the very root of the integrity of India, jail and not bail is the rule. Remember, in September 2025, in September this year, when the Delhi High Court had rejected his bail, Umar Khalid had opposed the framing of charges and told the Delhi court that he has already spent 5 years in jail and the entire case against him is a joke. There have also been several instances where the court has also come down heavily on the Delhi police. Some of their arguments have been questioned. The delay has also been put under a scanner. But now, with the matter in the top court, the politics has been reignited. The Congress is again asking if this is nothing more than a witch hunt against the activists in order to ensure that any dissent is silenced with a chilling effect.
जहां एक तरफ आप देख रहे हैं शर्जील इमाम, उमर खालिद जैसे मतलब इंटेलेक्चुअल लोग, रिसर्चर्स, वो जेल में हैं। उनके खिलाफ अभी तक भी कोई ठोस सबूत नहीं है, लेकिन अभी तक 5-5, 6-6 साल हो गए, उनको जमानत नहीं मिल रही। और जो खुलेआम चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को हत्या का धमकी दे रहे हैं, लोगों को उकसा रहे हैं कि उनके सर को फोड़कर 2 टुकड़े में बांट देना चाहिए। जो खुलेआम कह रहे हैं उसकी कार को घेर के हमला कर देना चाहिए। ऐसे लोग को जाते ही जमानत मिल जाती है, तो अगर देश जा किधर रहा है?
Delhi riot 2020, which was an anti-Hindu riot. It was a riot to target the Hindus of Delhi. It was not a spontaneous act. It was in fact a conspiratorial sponsored act. And those were the masterminds behind it. Umar Khalid, Sharjeel Imam, his statements about cutting off the chicken neck, or the likes of Tahir Hussain, they were defended by the ecosystem of Congress, Aam Aadmi Party and Samajwadi Party, RJD, Mahagathbandhan, India Alliance.
And that brings us to the big questions on which the buck stops here. Is this really the truth of the Delhi riots? An attempt at regime change? A regime change operation in the garb of anti-CEA protests? Or is this really a witch hunt against anti-government voices by creating a theory about how a nationwide armed rebellion was being planned? Joining us on the show today, we have Harshvardhan Tripathi, senior journalist, advocate Nikhil Jain, political analyst, Shahid Ali advocate, Dr. Sumansi Raman, also political analyst. But my first question is to Tushar Gupta. Is this a fantastical and fabricated theory which is being created, Tushar Gupta, to ensure that people who are inconvenient to this government stay behind bars forever? Why should we trust the Delhi police and its affidavit?
No, if someone says that the affidavit filed by the state of Delhi, the Delhi police in the Supreme Court is incorrect, they had 5 years to prove otherwise. The state of NCT of Delhi has given all the possible evidence and it's damning, Padmaja. It's not just about riots. You know, anyone in the last 5 years, Padmaja, let me tell you, a lot of people in the Congress ecosystem, supporters of the Congress or supporters of the larger opposition or even forces outside India, they have said, oh, Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam are innocent protesters against the state, against the Modi government. Let's take a few facts into account. The affidavit says that Umar Khalid was mobilizing the Muslim population from Muslim-dominated areas of Delhi. There is a clear distinction drawn in the affidavit between a chakka jam and a dharna. And this is important because for the last 5 years, we have been told, oh, they just wanted to protest against the CA. But what they wanted to do was create a deadlock where the state apparatus, the police and other forces couldn't handle if the protest went out of control into a riot. This was the entire intention, chakka jam. Even Bangladeshi illegal immigrants in Delhi were mobilized. And even the affidavit mentioned that in Selampur, where Umar Khalid and other co-conspirators were not getting the desired results, Bangladeshi women, illegal immigrants, were also mobilized to get the scale of violence unleashed. So in a way, this was being done, making women and children as a shield against the state. Now, you can talk about one riot or two riots. They had 8 places planned for a complete chakka jam. Now, when you see chakka jam, as per this affidavit, it's a cordoned off area which Umar Khalid and the co-conspirators wanted, where the state forces could not penetrate. And had the riot gone out of control, Padmaja, are we seriously to believe that it would have stayed within Delhi? Let's go back to 2019 December. Let's recall how the mood of the nation was. So much misinformation against the CA bill. And they wanted to replicate this outside Delhi. And one important thing, two important things rather. Umar Khalid gave a provocative speech in Amravati in Maharashtra saying, Donald Trump India आने वाले हैं अब violence का समय आ गया है. This is also mentioned in the affidavit number 2. Very surprising. Umar Khalid on 23rd February, just a couple of days before the riots begin, flees from Delhi. My simple question is, if he was an innocent protester, why was he coordinating this entire protest? Why was it not a dharna but a chakka jam? Why was there mobilization of Muslims from Muslim-dominated areas, including illegal immigrants from Bangladesh? And my final question, if you were such a believer in the cause, why flee from Delhi on 23rd Feb?
Okay, let's take this one by one. First of all, the mobilization, the conspiracy and the planning. Dr. Sumansi Raman, here is what the affidavit says. The conspiracy hatched, nurtured and executed by the petitioner was to strike at the very heart of the sovereignty and integrity of the country by destroying the communal harmony, instigating the crowd not only to abrogate public order, but to instigate them to an extent of armed rebellion. As far as the conspiracy is concerned, they have submitted CCTV images of how there were multiple CCTV cameras which were systematically disabled across the entire area before the violence started. Was this a bigger plan, as is being alleged?
Padmaja, I have just one question to ask you. When will the trial start and when will the trial conclude? Look, anybody, whatever be the offense that they are charged with, under our constitution and our law is entitled to a fair trial. Now, here is somebody, look, I have no problem with Umar Khalid being convicted with the due process of law and then being given whatever punishment. But here is a situation where there seems to be no end. The process itself seems to be the punishment. In the Delhi riots case, at last count I read that 60 cases connected to the Delhi riots had already been thrown out by the courts. Not one, not two, 60. And in many of these cases, the charges were also pressed very strenuously by the Delhi police. Now, my point is very simple. There has to be a time-bound trial, whatever the people involved are accused of.
Okay, we'll come to the timeline in just a second, Dr. Raman, for the simple reason. Hold on a second. That is a tertiary issue. Sir,
you allowed Tushar. No, you allowed.
That is because, sir, we have to address one issue at a time. I am talking about the merits of the allegation made about the conspiracy. You are talking about the timeline. On the timeline, there is an entirely different set of annexures that have been submitted. My simple question to you is, was there a conspiracy or not? Because all this while we've been told these are innocent activists who are being imprisoned on flimsy grounds.
Whether there was a conspiracy or not will be known only after the trial. Not what the police says. The police said various things in those 60 cases which the courts have thrown out.
No, but sir, in the interim, there is plenty of finger pointing happening already. I can count to you the number of seminars that have been organized only to say that these are innocent people being put behind bars.
Why not conduct the trial? Why not conduct the trial? Why not? Why is there such
Sir, I am asking you about these allegations per se, Dr. Sumansi Raman. Why the trial isn't happening is because there are multiple instances, and I will come to that in a second. I am
What
asking you
happened?
about the merits of these charges, prima facie, on the argument of witch hunt versus some proof. Where do you stand?
Won't that be known only after the judiciary gives its verdict? How
Sir,
absurd is
that's
this?
not the
Now
way
you're
politics
saying
happens in our
basically
country.
what? Yes.
Haven't
No,
you
no,
seen
what
in the
you're
last 5
basically
years,
saying is,
you have
what
got
about-
already people who
One
have
minute,
not
one
just
minute.
theorized but
One minute.
concluded that this is a witch
Your
hunt.
argument-
I am asking you as
your
an analyst,
argument-
where do you stand
your
on this?
argument is, no, I stand very clearly that the due process of law must be followed, and if they are guilty, they have to be convicted by a due process of law, not starting a trial, keeping them indefinitely in jail for over 5 years now is grossly a travesty of justice.
Okay.
It's very simple.
What is
If they are
happening on
guilty,
that? I will come to that in just a
give
second.
them
But let
the
me ask
strictest
Shahid Ali as well.
punishment.
Just hold on a second, sir. Again, like I said, who is delaying the trial is a debate in itself. Shahid Ali, on prima facie the charges. Do you think this is a witch hunt? To say that CAA was only used as a catalyzing factor in order to precipitate a nationwide armed rebellion. Fantastical or believable?
All charges have to be brought before the court along with all kind of material, whatever the police has collected. Now there is a procedure prescribed that the fair trial should take place. Until as a trial takes place, no material, whatever has been presented by the police investigating officer of the court, has no merits. That cannot be believed to be true, because the criminal jurisprudence provides that until and unless all charges coupled with material collected by the police are presented before the court and the trial takes place, fair trial takes place, then nothing can be considered to be an evidence. There is difference between evidence and the material collected.
That is correct, sir.
So far as
I am talking to you, sir.
That's
again,
what I'm saying.
You know,
That's what
everyone
I'm saying.
sidesteps the main question on TV, because off television there is a completely different debate that is taking place where the very merits of the case are questioned. I am asking you simply, sir, on the merits of the case, can the case stand? Because right now the very merits are being questioned, that this is a completely trumped up charge against the accused.
Unequivocally, I have said that on merits there is no case.
How do you know?
Until unless the same is proved from the court or before the court. Because the law, what is the law? Kindly see, please see. An accused has to be considered as innocent.
No, so on what basis are you saying that this case does not stand? Because again, let me quote to you. It says, evidence on record suggests that instant conspiracy was sought to be replicated and executed pan-India.
I think you have not considered what I said. No evidence has been collected. Only the material has been collected.
No.
There is difference between material and evidence. A material can become evidence only if the same has been presented to the court and proved as per law. Until the same is proved, that cannot be considered evidence. So there is difference between material and evidence.
Yes, Shahid Saab, you being a very good lawyer, now you are playing with words and talking about technicalities, but the fact is there are chats, there are pictures. Like I said, there are CCTV grabs of exactly what happened in Chandbagh, what happened at the time when the Delhi police was attacked, what happened when a chakka jam quickly was escalated into a riot.
If it was so,
but you are arguing on technicality. This is material, this is not evidence because the trial hasn't started. I am asking you, sir, about the merits of the case.
Then why this much delay has been caused by the prosecution?
And now you sidestep the question about the merits of the case and gone on to the timing. Okay, quickly respond to this, Tushar Gupta. Then I want to bring in the others. And I think we really have to go into the timing and timeline bit as well. Yes.
I want to make it very clear the affidavit has enough WhatsApp screenshots, call evidence, and witness statements. Since some people are saying there is no evidence present against Umar Khalid or Sharjeel Imam, there is enough evidence within the affidavit that this police has filed. Number two, are we forgetting the kind of violence that Seelampur and Jahangirpuri saw in Delhi? Are we forgetting how women and children were made shields in the protest? Are we forgetting how there were attempts in 2019-20, December to February 2020, to cause a chakka jam in several parts of Delhi? Are we forgetting how in Muslim-dominated areas there were certain blockades where the police also had difficulty navigating, and even the population within those areas had difficulty going about their daily business? So there was plenty of evidence that was captured within in the media also that aligns with the statements presented in the affidavit. And within the affidavit, sir, there are call evidences, WhatsApp screenshots, even of the 8 places that were chosen by Umar Khalid and his co-conspirators of the Chakka Jam, which includes Shaheen Bagh, by the way. So let's not say there is no evidence within the affidavit. There's plenty of evidence in the affidavit that if your political bias allows you to see it as a different question.
Once again, those are not the evidences. Mr. Tushar Gupta, in fact, I should not comment anything. But as far as the legality is concerned, as the legal position is concerned, whatever material has been collected by the police, that has to see light of the day, that has to be presented for the court, that has to be proved as per law. There is a complete procedure. There is a complete book that is called the code, that is the criminal procedure. And there is the law of evidence as well. So for what purposes? There is the law of evidence, there is the complete procedure.
Okay.
From all such books, so whatever police has collected.
Then in that case, I also wonder what law enables people, Harshvardhan ji, to say that all the accused are innocent. And again, I want to go back to the point that right now we can sit here and debate technicalities, but that is not what we hear in common discourse. What we hear is ये innocent लोग हैं हर्षवर्धन जी और इनको 5 साल से जानबूझ के तारीख पे तारीख दे करके जेल में रखा गया है. And let's be absolutely clear, nobody at that time says कि ये evidence है या ये material है. ट्रायल शुरू हुआ नहीं, अरे ट्रायल शुरू हुआ तो आपने उनको innocent कैसे डिक्लेयर कर दिया?
अनुजा जी, सबसे पहले तो मटेरियल ही एविडेंस में कन्वर्ट होता है और एजेंसी जो होती है उसको मटेरियल ही कलेक्ट करना होता है, जिसको एविडेंस के तौर पर कोर्ट के सामने रखते हैं. अब वो एडमिसिबल होगा या नहीं होगा ये कोर्ट तय करेगा. जो भी डिबेट होगी, जो भी जीरा होगी, वो उसके आधार पर तय होगी. लेकिन सबसे पहले एक बात, क्या आपको पता है कि जमानत की याचिका कितनी बार इन लोगों के वकील की तरफ से डिले की गई? जाने कितनी बार उमर खालिद शर्जील इमाम के वकील के तौर पर बड़े बड़े वकील खड़े होते रहे और डेट लेकर चले आते रहे. मैं देखता हूं ये जितनी टीवी डिबेट में लोग आते हैं, दिल्ली पुलिस ने इतने दिनों से, अमित शाह ही रोज फोन कर देते हैं कि जमानत नहीं मिलनी चाहिए, उसको डिले कर देना है, बिना चार्जशीट के, बिना फ्रेम किए हुए, बिना किसी जुडिशियल ट्रायल के. जज के सामने उनका वकील जाता है और तारीख लेकर आता है. सबसे पहली बात ये. दूसरी बात, 53 लोग दिल्ली दंगों में अपनी जान गंवा बैठे. सीबीआई ऑफिसर अंकित शर्मा सबको याद है. मोहम्मद ताहिर हुसैन जो उस वक्त आम आदमी पार्टी का पार्षद हुआ करता था, वो याद है. छतों पर जिस तरह की तैयारी थी वो सबने देखा है. कैसे कैसे हत्याएं हुई वो भी सबने देखा है. शर्जील इमाम का जो बयान है, जो वीडियो एविडेंस है, बाकायदा वो पब्लिक में है. उमर खालिद के बयान पब्लिक में है. दिल्ली डीपीएसजी शायद उस ग्रुप का नाम था, जो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बनाया गया, जो दिल्ली पुलिस ने अपने एफिडेविट में कहा है, उसके चैट रिकॉर्ड हैं. अब जाहिर है कि हम यहां टीवी पर बैठ के तो ये नहीं तय करेंगे ना कि दिल्ली पुलिस का एविडेंस माने या ना माने. नहीं, पर इसमें ये क्या एविडेंस है? क्या इसको एक्सट्रापोलेट करके राजनीति के लिए बोला जा रहा है कि रेजिम चेंज था, पूरे देश में दंगे भड़काने की साजिश थी? ये नेशन वाइड आर्म्ड रेबेलियन किधर से आ गया भाई? ये तो कह सकते हैं कि भाई सीए से हमें तकलीफ थी तो वायलेंस हो गया. पद्मजा, चिकन नेक को काटने की शर्जील इमाम की इच्छा ये नेशन वाइड ही तो हुआ ना. असम को काटना था ना. वो आप पूरे के इवेंट्स को याद कीजिए, वो एनआरसी सीए को लेकर ये सब था. और जिस तरह से झूठ बोला गया उसमें कांग्रेस पार्टी सहित सारी पार्टियां शामिल रहीं. और जो अनफॉर्चुनेट है कि इतने सीरियस, ये कोई सामान्य बात नहीं थी कि देश की राजधानी दिल्ली में ऐसा दंगा हो गया और उसके बाद उन पर कार्रवाई हो रही, तो पकड़ में आ रहा है कि उसमें ऐसे ऐसे लोग शामिल हैं जो किसी लेफ्ट से, किसी दूसरे छात्र संगठन से जुड़े हुए थे, कोई किसी पार्टी का कॉर्पोरेटर है, कोई किसी पार्टी का लीडर है, कोई सिविल सोसाइटी के नाम पर, ये जो ग्रुप है सिविल सोसाइटी के नाम पर, जिनके साथ बहुत बड़े बड़े वकील खड़े होते हैं, उनके साथ वो लोग जुड़े हुए हैं. ऐसे में जब इस तरह की कोई साजिश होती है तो वो ज्यादा खतरनाक हो जाती है.
पर आपको सच में लगता है ये रेजिम चेंज ऑपरेशन था? आई अगेन वांट टू अंडरलाइन कि दो चीजों में फर्क है. एक रायट होना, वायलेंस होना, और रेजिम चेंज अलेज करना बहुत बड़ी बात है. आप सच में कह रहे हैं कि ये रेजिम चेंज ऑपरेशन था?
बिल्कुल था.
पद्मजा, ये रेजिम चेंज ऑपरेशन था या नहीं था, ये कोर्ट में इस पे डिबेट होगी. लेकिन मैं फिर कह रहा हूं, चिकन नेक को काटना ये सीधे सीधे इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी को थ्रेट था, नंबर 1. डोनाल्ड ट्रंप की विजिट के समय ये सब हुआ, तो इंटरनेशनलाइज इसको करना थी, इस इशू को, भारत की छवि उस तरह से दिखानी थी। और जब 53 लोग दंगों में मरते हैं, तो आप उसके बाद सोचिए कोई भी रिजीम होगा उसके लिए क्या बने रहना आसान होता। और अभी हमने देखा जो काठमांडू में हुआ, उसके बाद कांग्रेस के नेता, दूसरी पार्टियों के नेता वो काठमांडू, कोलंबो और ढाका बनने की मंशा बार बार जाहिर कर रहे हैं।
Okay, so a lot of dots being connected there. Nikhil Jain.
Thank you so much for coming to me, Padmaja. So first of all, coordinating protests or doing chakka jams are not anti-national.
It's not protests.
These are not treason. Social activists and political parties across the ideological spectrum do that. That is kosher in a democracy. Number two, I think it is laughable for any communal incident or a riot to be called as a conspiracy to bring about regime change or waging a war against the Indian state. It is laughable that the Delhi police thinks that the Indian state is so weak. It is laughable that the Delhi police is sitting there and mocking the Prime Minister Modi and mocking Home Minister Amit Shah, that under them the Indian state is so weak that a bunch of college students can bring about a regime change. And this is not some mass protest. These are just a bunch of college students. Lastly, not lastly, but let's look at the Delhi riots cases. The Delhi riots cases, 97 of them have been thrown out by the courts. 97 people have been acquitted, and in at least 17 cases, the courts have called the evidence put forth by the same Delhi police as completely fabricated. There is only one gentleman, or rather, there's only one person who's been seen on video clearly making statements that can be inciting a riot, and that person is called Kapil Mishra, who's a BJP minister in the Delhi government right now. And it is not just me saying that, that is also the statement, that is also the view that was held by the Rouse Court, Rouse Avenue Court, which looks at serious offences. It is clear that
I just want to stop you there for a second, because I find it very curious that you totally forgot to mention, the speeches that were given at the Chakka Jam before the violence started, one, and that immortal image of Shah Rukh Khan Pathan who literally put a gun to the head of a Delhi police constable, but you only saw Kapil Mishra. But sure, go ahead, finish your point.
No, we're talking about Umar Khalid, and I'm not defending any person who is putting a gun to a policeman's head or face. That
no, because you said only person seen inciting violence was Kapil Mishra.
And he should spend
I'm guessing Shah Rukh Khan Pathan roaming around with an arm is also inciting violence, but go ahead.
Certainly it is. Certainly it is. I'm nowhere going to defend Shah Rukh Khan Pathan or any other person like that, whether a Hindu or a Muslim, a Congressy or a BJP. I don't care about that. I care about my city. I've just sent you on WhatsApp an entire link of, an entire compendium that I had myself personally compiled during the time these riots were happening. And you might see there is a section in that where the Delhi police is found helping the rioters. The Delhi police was actually unloading truckloads of stones to be thrown at certain neighborhoods. The Delhi police were found poking people till they died, and we know those cases.
Okay.
In 17 cases where the courts have given acquittals, they've clearly said that the Delhi police was fabricating evidence. This is not a Delhi police that I'm going to rely on in terms of what material or evidence or statements that they make in the affidavit before the court. Also, the other point that Tushar raised about how it is Umar Khalid's own counsels who've been delaying the trial. They've not, the allegations that are being made are for them delaying the bail application in the Supreme Court, which is an entirely different case.
Okay, just hold on a second. On the regime change, the government is not so weak so as to having the college students change regime. Tushar Gupta, answer that. Is the government weak?
Look,
how can there be a regime change operation?
No, the government is not weak. The state is not weak. And the Congress at number of times after independence has given enough demonstration of that. But that also doesn't mean the state is going to sit and just, sort of tolerate any sort of such events that were planned in Delhi. Look, we have to understand every time a protest like this happens, there is a minority that is mobilized. In the Delhi police affidavits, it's clearly written Umar Khalid and his co-conspirators were focusing on the Muslim-dominated areas for an armed rebellion. It's in the affidavit, Nikhiljan. Hold on. Number two, there was a certain scale
My
of
friend,
violence
more
that was
Muslims
being
died in this
desired
riot than
end
Hindus
of
did.
Umar Khalid, where the affidavit mentions he was trying to get the Bangladeshi women involved also. Number three, Padmaja, and the most important point, at that time, the CA protests were going on in several pockets and they were being encouraged across the country by the same elements. Are we supposed to believe that it was going to stop at Delhi alone?
Nikhil
This
Jain.
was clearly and law an issue that was aimed at expanding across the country. And
same elements. Now, this shows the mindset. This shows the mindset. Padmaja, Tushar, I wasn't interjecting. Can I please speak now? Tushar, can I please speak now?
If you have any ounce of evidence which is worth any rupee, you should have presented it in the court. You are making serious accusations here against the Delhi police, but you have not presented any shred of evidence in the court. You're actually making baseless allegations here against the Delhi police.
My friend, can I please, Padmaja,
and let me remind you, Nikhil Jain, people are talking about trial not having started, but in the judicial process, the same accused have applied for bail multiple times and their bail has been denied. And while that bail being denied, let me remind you what the Delhi High Court said. The court said prima facie role of Umar Khalid is grave. Umar Khalid delivered inflammatory speeches, bail on grounds of delayed trial, not universally applicable rule. Conspiratorial violence under garb of protest can't be permitted. So fine, the Delhi police is trying to cover its tracks. Are you suggesting that the Delhi High Court is also compromised? It's the Delhi High Court which passed these adverse comments against him while denying him bail.
First of all, Padmaja, let me tell your viewers very clearly that a bail application is different from a trial. A bail application is decided on aspects such as whether the person is flight risk or not, whether the person can hamper evidence or not. And so far as the High Court's order is concerned, let me please answer that. So far as the High Court's order is concerned, I feel that the High Court order is completely erroneous for the simple reason that it flies in the face of the basic principle of deciding bail cases, that you do not hold a mini trial, which is exactly what the High Court is doing.
But you cannot bring everything into question. The government is compromised, they are silencing dissent. The police is trying to cover its track. The Delhi High Court is wrong in law.
There is a reason we have appellate courts. No.
And by the way,
I am trusting somebody. I am saying that this judgment of the High Court is erroneous. I am not saying it's compromised.
Why denying him bail?
Padmaja, I am not saying that the High Court is compromised. I am merely saying that the High Court's judgment was erroneous. And for a moment, let's say Umar Khalid has one judgment against him. All right, one order against him. What about the trial court orders? 17 trial court orders saying that the Delhi police has completely fabricated the cases. Let me read out the kind of excerpts that the trial courts have given to the Delhi police.
Yes, there are multiple cases, more than 100 which were filed during the riots.
In the case
some of them have fallen. And for that, the Delhi police must be pulled up. But against Umar Khalid, the case has stood.
But not some, most.
Most of them have been.
No, the case is not proceeding its ground so far. That is the problem. For 5.5+ years, in a conspiracy to destabilize the Indian state, to effectuate a regime change, the Delhi police is not moving forward with the trial. That shows that the Delhi police gives a rat's posterior about the Indian state. Or it's an entirely fabricated case. Let your viewers decide.
Then why was he denied bail? Why was he denied bail if it's an entirely fabricated case?
No. Padmaja,
in one High Court order, he's been denied bail. So far as the Supreme Court cases are concerned, his case has never been heard. That's the problem.
So, Padmaja, as far as Nikhil Jain's theory is concerned, for 5 years, this Modi government denied Umar Khalid and his friends all the fundamental rights. And for 5 years, the entire army of lawyers supporting Umar Khalid was so incompetent that couldn't once approach the Supreme Court, cite violation of fundamental rights and secure his bail. Again, you are telling the High Court is compromised. You are saying the Delhi police is compromised. You are saying the affidavit is erroneous. You are saying the High Court order is erroneous. You are willing to deny all the provocative speeches that were caught on several media channels. You are denying all the violence that was happening, again, caught on all media cameras in Seelampur and Jahangirpuri. You are denying all the sorts of violence that was witnessed around the trip of Donald Trump to India. You are denying all the protests. You are denying all the calls that were made against the life of Narendra Modi and Amit.
You are denying all the acquittals. You are denying all the times when the trial courts have called the case fabricated. You are denying all the videos where the Delhi police is found being complicit with the rioters. You are denying the fact that twice the number of Muslims have died in this riot. You are denying the fact that for 5.5 years the Delhi police is not moving forward with the trial. You are denying the fact that the case before the Supreme Court continuously goes before one particular judge who was criticized thoroughly at her farewell for going against the cardinal principle of law and jurisprudence.
None of it has to do with the Umar Khalid case.
Jail is the exception, bail is the rule. And that was a criticism from across political spectrums.
Okay, I think for far too long this issue of denial has been, this trial being delayed has been brought up. Let me quote to you few of the annexures that have been put in this affidavit, where multiple times, multiple courts have said that it is the accused who for various reasons delayed the case. One example I am quoting from the Shahadra District Karkarduma Court dated 7/08/2025. Today, nobody has come forward to address arguments on the point of charge. Matter be put for arguments on point of charge on 12/8/2025 on 12 noon. This is just one of the cases quoted. Then again, there is another example which has been quoted from 5/8/2025. What happened over there? It says that you have Shri Tridip Pai. Counsel for accused Umar Khalid submits that he will argue on the 22nd of October, 22/08/2025 and 23/08/2025. Shri Anirudh Ramanathan, counsel for accused Salim Malik, also says that he will argue on 28/08. So does Miss Pooja Deepak. When is this said? 5/08 was the date of hearing. They themselves said, we want to argue on 22nd. So that is, my friend, how delays happen, and all of this is on record. All of this is documented. But Harshvardhan ji, सिंपल पॉइंट इज, निखिल जैन ने एग्जांपल दिया है कि कम से कम 90 से ज्यादा केसेस कोर्ट्स ने ही बाहर फेंके हैं इसी राइट को लेकर के, और आप उमर खालिद को ट्रायल में जाने ही नहीं दे रहे हैं क्योंकि आपका कोर्ट, आपका केस ही कमजोर है, क्योंकि बाकी तो सब खत्म हो गए ना, कचरे के डब्बे में चले गए।
मैं निखिल को सुन रहा था। एक तो उन्होंने बहुत ऑब्जेक्शनेबल पॉइंट बोला। उन्होंने कहा कि इसमें मुस्लिम ही ज्यादा मारे गए हैं। दंगों में हिंदू मारा जाए तब उसको देखने का तरीका अलग होगा, मुस्लिम मारा जाए देखने का तरीका अलग होगा। बहुत ही छोटी और खराब सोच है, खतरनाक है। दूसरा, जब ये कहते हैं कि ढेर सारे लोगों को कोर्ट ने छोड़ा है, इसका मतलब फेयर ट्रायल हो रहा है। इसका मतलब हुआ फेयर ट्रायल हो रहा है ना, इसमें तो कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं। फिर थर्ड पॉइंट, जब वो कहते हैं कि ये क्या इतनी वीक गवर्नमेंट है, वीक गवर्नमेंट के खिलाफ एनआरकी नहीं होती है, स्ट्रॉन्ग गवर्नमेंट के खिलाफ एनआरकी होती है। और अभी जब आप डेमोक्रेसी में किसी सरकार को नहीं पलट पाते हैं तो इस तरह के एनआरकी करते हैं। अभी हम दो एग्जांपल, जम्मू कश्मीर में जो टेररिज्म था, जो सेपरेटिज्म था, वो कैसे था? इसी तरह से जब उसमें सो कॉल्ड सिविल सोसाइटी, ढेर सारे कवर देने वाले लोग, फाइनेंसर, वो शामिल हो जाते थे, ये होता है। दूसरा, जो नक्सल, माओवादी आतंकवाद है, वहां भी वही हुआ। जो अर्बन नक्सल थे उन्होंने सपोर्ट किया, यूनिवर्सिटी में बैठे लोग, टीवी डिबेट में आने लोग, प्रोफेसर, जर्नलिस्ट, और वो सब उनके पक्ष में रिपोर्ट करते रहे। अंत में क्या होता है? किसका नुकसान होता है? आदिवासियों का नुकसान हो रहा था, उनके बच्चों की जान जा रही थी, उनके हाथ पैर उड़ रहे थे। ऐसे ही कश्मीर में हो रहा था, मुसलमान की जान जा रही थी। दिल्ली दंगों में जो भी, जिसकी भी जान गई, आखिर 53 लोगों की जान गई है, तो उनमें से कौन कौन लोग थे उसके पीछे शामिल थे। और आमतौर पर यह होता है कि इस तरह के दंगों में, जिसको हम बार बार कहते हैं कि जो ग्राउंड फोर्स होती है, जो लड़ने वाले लोग होते हैं, वो इसके साजिशकर्ता नहीं होते। साजिशकर्ता वो जिनको हम अलग अलग जगहों पर बैठे हुए देखते हैं, वो उसी तरह के लोग होते हैं। और दिल्ली पुलिस अगर उसको पकड़ रही है तो कोर्ट के सामने होता है होगा।
All right, I'm going to leave it at that because tomorrow it is the Supreme Court of India, and hopefully at least there'll be some institution that we will trust. These are claims, one side made by the accused, one side made by the Delhi police. Who is trying to cover their tracks and who is going to be exposed? We'll know from court tomorrow. For the time being, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me.